Now I know what you're thinking. Hey Vic, are you doing another episode of Cliff Comics? Have you done nearly 50 episodes? Well, I'll answer those questions by saying, yeah, buddy! Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Dudley, and I am the Comic Hero. Yes, once again, we are at Clint's Comics here in Monroe, Louisiana on Darbon Avenue, and we're nearly at 50 episodes. This is episode 49. And now I'm trying to think. Remember that drug-free commercial that used to come on back in the late 80s, early 90s? I remember it when This Is Your Brain. This is your brain on drugs. I'm trying to remember what the last two words said. I really don't know. Oh, that's right. Any questions?
Questions I walk around in. Questions I didn't thrive in. Questions I will survive in.
All right, I have about 6 questions here. And the first one is from Dustin Ross from Monroe, Louisiana. And Dustin was also in band with me at ULM, by the way. He asked, out of all the comics you read, has there ever been a certain hero or comic that you just didn't like or don't like reading or maybe have lost interest in? Well, Dustin, to tell that would be to go all the way back to the year 2001. When I first got to the first college that I went to, which was Louisiana Tech University, I remember there was a girl I was in band with, and she read comics, and I found this out during halftime of a basketball game where the pep band had to play, and I looked out, I thought, holy crap, she reads comics. That is so awesome. Unfortunately, she was taken at the time, but when I finally admitted to her that I like comics, then I told her some of them that I read, and she told me some of them that she read. And one of the books that she likes reading, she still reads, by the way, is The Punisher. Now, I wanted to try that. I wanted to start reading that, but then after reading the first issue, I decided not to, because The Punisher, from a moral standpoint, really doesn't really do it for me. I mean, I know The Punisher pretty much lives in a live and let die kind of world. In other words, he thinks that killing people is justice. Well, I got news for you. It's not justice. So it was The Punisher. I mean, there were other books, but The Punisher for me was probably the one that really stands out in terms of morals. So The Punisher. All right. Next is Michelle Prechter from Monroe, Louisiana. And Michelle is one of the managers at my job. All right, she asked, if you were talking to someone who had never read comics and they could read only one, what would it be? Well, Michelle, the answer to that pretty much depends on the person. Let's say, for example, let's say for you for instance, I'd probably have to say Wonder Woman, and this is why, because Wonder Woman, she has morals, although there have been times that she has killed someone, but she is a very, very strong-willed person, and not only that, she's the god of war. But if I would say a group of people collectively as a whole, I'd probably have to say X-Men, because some of the characters that are in X-Men, they relate to people of all ages, especially of teenagers. I mean, come on, with X-Men, when I grew up, when I was a teenager, when I got tired of only just reading Superman or Green Lantern, I decided to read the first teen book I wanted to read was X-Men. Because these are folks that have come from different walks of life, and they all have different mutant powers. And not only that, but X-Men was also one of those books where it also let young people know that it's okay to be different in terms of hobbies, interests, or what have you. Oh, by the way, there's also going to. Oh, and Michelle, if you're watching this, you may want to keep watching in the next segment, which is comically speaking, because there's probably another book that I want to that Marvel's going to start publishing in a few months. That is really going to be, that might be right up your alley. All right, the next question comes from James Muse from Monroe, and James, like Dustin, was also a man with me at ULM. He asked, "Do you read webcomics? If so, what are a few of your favorite webcomics?" You know what? I've never really read webcomics. I actually know some people who have. I know a friend of mine who lives down in Franklin, Louisiana, who reads webcomics every week. I mean, she didn't tell me what the name of the book was, but she tried to get me to read it, but I just didn't do it. The kind of comics I buy come in paper, and they come out every Wednesday. Sorry. All right. This next question is from Brian Ferguson from Homer, which is my hometown. He's also a school buddy of mine. He asked, "Has there ever been a plot twist or direction the writer took that caused you to lose interest, even a temporary loss?" Plenty. And the first one was when Superman ended up getting electric powers. I thought it was cool at first, but then as I kept reading, I thought, okay, this just isn't right. This isn't Superman. This is basically Black Lightning. And I couldn't wait till and I knew it was only a matter of time until he ended up getting his real powers back. And I was right. He sure did. Another one that kind of upset me happened just recently, and that's the death of Wolverine. I don't know what Marvel's intentions were on killing Wolverine, but this is in the comic book world. Just about everybody comes back, but still, Wolverine is like one of the most beloved characters in comics, not just Marvel, but comics in general. All right, the next one is also from Brian Ferguson. Now, here's the thing. Before I read this question, I just want to let y'all know, if you want to ask more than one question, that's fine. As long as I have some questions and not any. Because, oh, by the way, the any question segment is now permanent. It's not a temporary segment anymore on this show. It is permanent. So if you have questions, please, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, get them to me. Oh, and they're right, and all the contact information is right down here, if you're asking. Okay, but to answer Brian's question, actually he asked, how do you feel about manga, Berserk in particular? Well, I tried to get into manga about 11 years ago. Around this time, I was wanting to expand my horizons in terms of comics, and I went to the library one day and I saw this book that was on sale for about $3 called Gunsmith Cats. I bought it, but I only read about 2 pages of it, and then I just couldn't do it. I mean, I'm not saying that manga sucks. Oh no, I would never say that. But manga is just something I really can't get into, just like webcomics. I can't get into that either. I mean, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to broaden my horizons. I mean, I'm trying to get out of this Marvel DC bubble of mine. All right, and there's one more question, but I'm going to save that for this next segment because it has to do with something I'm talking about in the Comically Speaking segment, which comes up next. So without further ado, let's talk comics! All right, now the question that has to do with something I'm talking about in the Comically Speaking segment is from Jake Young from Springfield, Missouri. Now, I went to college with him and was a band with him at Louisiana Tech about anywhere between 15 to 11 years ago. Well, he asked,
Now that Marvel and Sony reached a deal on Spider-Man, what Spidey stories would you most like to see written in Phase 3 or 4? Obviously, the Infinity War story would be richer now. What standalone Spider-Man story arcs are you dying to see get adapted? Well, Jake, I'm glad you asked because I'm thrilled that Spider-Man is now part of Marvel Studios and not with Sony anymore. Here's my whole thing about that. It shouldn't have been when Marvel Studios, the second it got bought by Disney, just about every Marvel movie that has come out since 2000 should be with Marvel Studios and not with Sony or 20th Century Fox or Universal. So the next thing they need to do, they need to bring X-Men to Marvel Studios. Because you have to remember, Marvel collectively as a whole got bought by Disney 2 years ago. So that with that being said, just about 3 years ago, I'm sorry. 3 years ago. Because it got bought right before Marvel's The Avengers came out. But anyway, every book, every character needs, because here's the thing. Disney bought Marvel. Period. They weren't really playing favors with any characters. Every character in the Marvel universe is part of Disney. And I feel that with Spider-Man getting, with Marvel and Sony striking up a deal for Spider-Man to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the next thing that Disney needs to do, they need to work a deal with 20th Century Fox to acquire both X-Men and the upcoming Deadpool movie. Oh, and the upcoming Gambit movie. I mean, come on, this is DC. I mean, this is Marvel. Every character should be part of the Marvel Universe. And I know I keep saying that. And also need to work a deal with 20th Century, not 20th Century Fox, but Universal Pictures for the Incredible Hulk. However, the Incredible Hulk were in Marvel's The Avengers and is going to be in Marvel's The Avengers Age of Ultron coming out in a few months. Now, I just think, I mean, come on. I mean, now look, DC, every movie that DC has come out with, ever, well, almost ever, just about most of their movies were Warner Brothers. So, I mean, you don't ever hear about one character being with, 20th Century Fox, or another one being with Sony, or another one being with Paramount, and all this other stuff. No, you don't hear that. They've all been with Warner Brothers, and I think Marvel needs to put that in consideration, because for all these other characters now, well, they have Spider-Man now, but with X-Men and Deadpool being part of being with 20th Century Fox, that just makes Marvel look bad. All right, enough about that. So, but anyway, but answer your question, Jake. I know you asked what Spidey stories would you most like to see written in Phase 3 or 4. I'm going to tell you this much: Marvel, with acquiring Spider-Man, they're going to bore us again and start over. That's right. But there have been a lot of criticism. There have been folks saying that they should use Peter Parker. Instead, they should use Miles Morales. Now, keep in mind, Miles Morales is the current Spider-Man in the Ultimate Marvel line of books. It has been for a few years. I'm on the fence about that, because Miles Morales, from what I've read, makes a pretty good Spider-Man. But Peter Parker is the true Spider-Man, in my opinion. But if they ever do another Spider-Man story, I think they should do one on either the Clone Saga or Superior Spider-Man. Now, Superior Spider-Man, that deserves to be in. I don't know, that deserves to be in theaters. Besides, Besides, Otto Octavius wasn't Spider-Man for long. Not before he realized that he was completely bush league in terms of how he on how he lived as Peter Parker. But it's either one of those two, Clone Saga or Superior Spider-Man. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about, in comically speaking, is DC. Now, they're going to end up having this mini-series called Convergence. Now, the word convergence means it's pretty much combining things. Like they're going to, like what they're doing, what DC is doing, they come to the realization that most of their characters in the New 52, in terms of how they did things and their personalities, are kind of a bunch of slouches. So they're looking to diversify all of them. They're going to be about 24 or 25 books ending, but then there are going to be some books that are going to be continuing. Some of the books that are going to be continuing are Action Comics, Superman, Detective Comics, Batman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Teen Titans. Some of the books that are going to be ending are going to be Red Lanterns, Green Lantern Corps, Green Lantern New Guardians, Sinestro, Batman and Robin. And they're going to be replaced with some newer titles like Cyborg, Damian, Robin, son of Batman. I'm kind of looking forward to that. All right. Oh! I forgot what I promised in the last segment to Michelle Proctor. Okay, Michelle. There's going to be a new Avengers book coming out in a few months called A-Force. Now, the one thing about this book that's coming up, it's going to star absolutely nothing but female Avengers. I'm talking about Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Wasp, Scarlet Witch, Rogue. Just about any female character that has ever been an Avenger will be in this book. Now I'm a straight guy, but I'm going to read that book because I really don't discriminate when it comes to what kind of comics. Heck, I read Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, so I'll definitely be reading that. All right, that's it for Comically Speaking. So let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
Okay, before I go on with the comic books I bought this week segment, I forgot to recognize or make mention of this Comic Hero shirt I'm wearing. It's the Mardi Gras themed shirt. This is the second of three that I'm wearing, and I'll wear the third one next week. I know that Ash Wednesday is next Wednesday, so I'll find some other way or some kind of special report or something to do before next Wednesday. But anyway, here's the front of the shirt. Here's the shield, gold and green. And here's the back of it, the Comic Hero logo with the Fleur de Lis behind it. Now, on to the books I bought this week. Okay, first up is Captain Marvel, number 12. I'm still a little behind on reading this. I'm nowhere, but I will let you know what happens in the Comically Speaking segment of a future episode. But what I can tell you, it talks about her, being a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy and then living in the Statue of Liberty in New York. That's right. She lives inside the Statue of Liberty. All right, up next is All New X-Men number 36. This is a continuation of the 4 of the 5 original X-Men being trapped in the Ultimate Marvel Universe. And in this issue, as you can see, X-23 meets up with the Ultimate Wolverine's son. Yep, you heard me. All right, up next is Amazing Spider-Man number 14. This is the conclusion to the Spider-Verse story arc that's going on in there. There have been a lot of twists and turns and a lot of cool and not so cool things that have happened in here. Who else will live? Who else will die? I'll find out when I read this. I'll let you know in the Comically Speaking segment in next week's episode. All right, up next is Teen Titans number 6. Now, at the end of the last issue, we see the debut of another character calling herself Power Girl. Now, we all know that the Power Girl we know is the Kara Zor-El from Earth 2, but this Power Girl is a whole completely different character. What can she do? Who is her real name? We'll find out more in this issue. All right, up next is Nova number 26. This is pretty much the fallout from Nova, because of course Nova was in Avengers: The X-Men Axis. He was involved in that, and this time Carnage comes to Carefree, Arizona, where Nova, aka Sam Alexander, lives. Is he looking to stir up trouble? Is he looking to do good? We'll find out in this book. All right, up next is Spider-Man 2099 number 8. This is a tie-in to the Spider-Verse story arc going on in Amazing Spider-Man. Of course, the Spider-Man of 2099 is Miguel O'Hara, and he was at first getting used to life during our time, but then during the Spider-Verse story arc, he went back to the year 2099. But he's a little he doesn't know whether he wants to stay or leave, because after all, 2099 is where he's originally from. And by the way, Miguel O'Hara is the grandson of Tiberius Stone, who owns Alchemax Industries in New York. And ever since he's been during our time, one of the things that he's been doing is protecting his grandfather Tiberius Stone from anything bad happening to him. Very good book, by the way. All right, up next is Green Lantern Corps number 39. This, I can't really say what's going on because I still haven't read number 38 yet. Number 38 is a fallout from the Godhead story arc that just ended in December. And what I can tell you that it's a great read, and I hate to say this, but this is one of the books that's going to be ending in a few months during Convergence. Sad but true. All right, and finally, Thor number 5. Now, in the last issue, we saw this female Thor here, go up against the original Thor Odin's son, because Thor wanted wanted Mjolnir back. But that's not the only thing bad that happened to Thor Odin's son. Right after just after he started wielding Yarbjorn, Malekith the Accursed cuts his arm off, and now he has a mechanical arm. Well, anyway, that's 8 I bought, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 6,661. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I tell you, this was yet another great episode, folks, and I'm so pumped about next week's episode 50. It's a milestone for me. I'm excited about it. I have a lot of stuff planned, but if you have any suggestions for this show, including episode 50, there's the contact location right down there. I'd be happy to hear from you. And also the Any Questions segment. It's a permanent segment now, so I need questions. So if you have anything you want to ask me that's positive and pertains to this show, let me know. I'm all ears. Oh boy, I'm telling you, y'all have no idea how excited I am about episode 50. I tell you, but I have to humble myself, because I want this to be a surprise for everyone. Oh, okay, Clint, I was just seeing if you were still back there, because I'm about to.
I am.
All right, Clint Thomas, y'all. All right, I'm Victor Dudley. I'm the comic hero. I'm about to pay for these books. I'll see you next week at episode 50. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero. Yes. I can't wait. Episode 50 is going to be great. Okay, now this next question is actually from. Next question is. Dang it!